Today's lesson is on how to solve multi-step inequalities. It will combine what we learned from 6.1 and 6.2 about the basic inequalities, the directions. Okay, so on this worksheet, follow along with me. Okay, so follow along with me and copy down the examples. Then once you finish, you're going to do the problems on the back of this worksheet. Near the end of the hour, you will be checking your answers to make sure you had those problems right. Okay, and then make sure you turn it in for credit. Okay, so directions, all right, pretty much what we're doing today. We'll be solving inequalities, and the basic steps, okay, you're gonna solve or solve for the variable. Okay, that's okay. So solve for the variable the same way you would solve an equation. Okay, so start that way, and then the only real difference is instead of having an equal sign, you're going to have your inequality symbol. Remember, you need to keep it. You need to keep it the same if you multiply or divide by a positive, or if you add or subtract. But if you multiply or divide by a negative number, then you need to reverse the sign, okay, or flip it. Okay. All right. So here's example 1. 2x minus 5 is less than or equal to 23. All right, so if, let's say this was a regular equation, first step I would do would be to undo minus 5. I do that by adding 5. Okay, so that cancels. You're left with 2x. Okay, because I added, I'm going to keep the sign the same, and then it'd be, so 2x is less than or equal to 28. Okay, divide both sides by 2, and x is less than or equal to 14. Okay. This would be acceptable work on your homework. Okay, I would like it if you copied down the original problem and then showed your steps. Okay, I know it's going to take more paper, but it's just a good way of doing homework. Okay, your homework's actually going to ask for a graph. Okay, we're not going to graph it here, but on your homework, make sure you graph it. All right, next example. Let's start by undoing the constant term. So it's addition, I undo by subtraction. All right, I actually made a mistake there. Okay, we need to take away 5. All right, so we're left with negative 6y is less than or equal to negative 21. All right, so after that, we need to undo by dividing by negative 6. So y, let's see, before I write down my sign, I divided by a negative number, which means I need to flip the sign around. So instead of less than or equal, now it's greater than or equal. And let's see. So negative 21 divided by 6. That's going to be, oops, sorry. 2 negatives become a positive, so it would be 21/6. If you reduce that, y would be greater than or equal to 3 1/2. Okay, for example 3, all right, here, so if this was a regular equation, I would have to start by doing the distributive property. Okay, we need to get rid of those parentheses. Okay, so negative 1/4 times p would be negative 1/4 p. All right, and now, so we can either do negative 1/4 times negative 12, okay, which would get me plus, let's see, 1/4 of 12. Remember how to multiply fractions. That'd be 12 over 1. It ended up being 12 over 4, okay, which should be 12 divided by 4, which is 3. All right. Okay, the other way, subtraction, change that to adding the opposite. This would be plus, 2 negatives make a positive. Okay, so that's distributed. So negative 1/4 p plus 3 is greater than negative 2. All right, next step is to undo the plus 3. So negative 1/4 p is going to be greater than negative 5. Okay, don't change the sign yet because I just subtracted there. All right, my next step is to get rid of this. I don't like this fraction. I don't like negative 1/4. Okay, to get that to be a whole number, let's multiply both sides of the equation by negative 4. Okay, and because I'm multiplying by a negative, I need to flip the sign. So I'm going to do that right away. Negative 4 times negative 1/4. Okay, that's going to give me 1. Okay, and 1p is just p. The other side, negative 5 times negative 4 is 20. Okay, so my answer here is p is less than or equal to 20. All right, it's usually a good idea to check your answer. So if I checked it, let's pick a number less than 20. Okay, I'm going to say maybe let's just do 0. 0 is less than 20. So if I put in 0, 0 minus 12 is negative 12. Negative 1/4 times negative 12 is 3. And 3 is greater than negative 2, so it does work. It's good. Okay, example 4. All right, here I have variables on both sides. Okay, and I want them to only be on one side. So I'm going to take away 2x because I like positive numbers. Okay, so 6x minus 2x is 4x. So 4x minus 7, okay, that cancels. It's going to be greater than 17. All right, next step, let's get all the constant terms on one side, so add 7. So now 4x is going to be greater than 17 plus 7 is 24. Divide both sides by 4. Okay, 4 is a, whoop. Okay. 4 is a positive number, so I'm left with x. Okay, positive. I'm dividing by a positive, so I leave the sign. 24 divided by 4 is 6. So there's my answer. Okay, so these are the examples. Look back towards them as you do the next couple of problems. Okay, flip your paper over and go ahead and work on these problems.